Oh, I prefer to be single. I'm sure we've all heard somebody say that, right? But do they really prefer being single? Isn't it nice having that one special person you can tell anything to and kind of join you in this journey called life? Well, if you find yourself in the dating scene, I'm sure maybe you've thought about online dating. Many of us have done it. I, in fact, have done it, and we're going to talk about that today and some of the crazy things and fails and even some success stories. My name is AJ, aka Fat Gentleman, and Rachel is going to join me. We met online dating, and we've been together quite a while now, and long enough to where I decided to ask her to be my wife. So follow along. So we used Plenty of Fish. They're, I'm sure there's success stories other than ours. I've heard a lot of horror stories on there. I'm sure you probably have too, or maybe experienced some. I guess first of all, did you use any other dating sites?
Yeah, I was on Bumble too, so I definitely know there are a lot more weirdos reaching out to me on Plenty of Fish, but that's only because on Bumble the women can reach out first, so you just don't send messages to people who automatically look like sketch.
Okay, so Rachel.
Yeah.
Time to spill the tea. How many dates would you say that you actually went on from somebody that you met on Plenty of Fish?
Okay, so it's a little bit tough to tell since I was on both sites, but I'd say probably less than 5 from Plenty of Fish. I did go on several dates from Bumble too, but all the dates except one, I went ahead and did a second date. My theory was first date, you don't always show your best self and you might be nervous or something, so I always gave somebody a second chance, except for one time. And there was no second chance needed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you care to expand on that?
He was a nice guy, but all he talked about was Dungeons and Dragons, and he came in full on black beanie, black big sweatshirt, black sweatpants, slides, and we're going out for hibachi. And I always try to look my best, and he looked like a straight bum. And it was just a bizarre date, and telling me how he was a grandmaster, and people flew him around the country to go over these whatever tournaments they are, and you can like what you like, but it was a bit much for me. So,
so you just knew right away.
Yeah, except I was at the end when he did say, "So I had a really good time. Would you like to do it again?" I did say yes, knowing full in.
Well, it's hard in the moment.
Yeah, so I feel a little bit bad about that. But what about you?
Okay, so we're talking quite a few years of using this on and off, lots of them were probably just maybe one date. Some of them led to longer situations. Altogether, throughout all the years, I want to say definitely less than 20. Some, like you're saying, you knew just right away, this isn't gonna work. Others, I want to just point something out. Being a guy that, I feel like Tinder these days, though I never really used it, I feel like that's kind of like known that, like, it's a hookup kind of thing, and you're not looking for, but generally in messaging with these girls, I would make it clear that I was looking for something, to turn into a relationship maybe eventually. But sometimes you meet up with a girl and how can I say this PC, where they're totally willing to give out samples of the milk without buying the cow. sort of thing. And as a guy, it's hard to resist those sort of things. But I will say that every time that happened, later that night or whenever things were done and I was back by myself, I just knew that it wasn't for me. In the moment you get caught up and you think it's a romantic thing, but I don't know what it is that, a girl that was a little more reserved or, make the guy work for it. Maybe that's more attractive. So definitely under 20, and some of them were just, meet for coffee and never see each other again, or some, led to a couple month thing. But quite a few to where I feel I got a pretty good idea of what's on there, and there's let's just say not a lot of opportunity if you're looking for something long term, but it's definitely out there. Okay, so something I'm kind of curious about is from the girls' side. What kind of things did you see on there? And I mean, like, what type of profile, like pictures, and are there anything that stands out as far as like what guys would put on their bio? Were there lots of dudes flexing muscles with their shirts off, or how did that go from the female perspective?
Well, from my perspective, I have different rules. Like if you're in your profile picture and you have no shirt on, it's immediate no. If you're smoking in your profile picture, nah. If you're holding a fish, that's okay in a different picture, but I just want to see your face. I got so many. It became this thing at my work where I would, which is terrible, screenshot the pictures that were on there and send them to my friends, and then some of like my coworkers would recreate the photos. Like one guy, he had like a bear picture in the back, and he had a bandana and this long hair, and he looked all tough, and so she recreated it with her Great Dane picture, and she put a bandana on it. It was funny. Message wise, you have to. I told him he was probably one of the most respectful people in messaging. Like actually getting to know questions, kids. A lot of it straight to, do you like this? Are you into that? You want to do this? Like just bizarre things I've never even knew people wanted to know. Not a lot of information. I don't like profiles that were like, about me, just ask. Like every section is like, just ask. Yeah. Like, I don't want to just ask. Just tell me, because this is where you fill out. If you don't have the time to take 20 minutes and fill out your profile, then I don't have the time to talk to you, because, you can screen stuff out. A lot of lies. People are, they want to make themselves look good, but everybody does. You gotta make a first impression. So, how about you? What did you see in the girl?
Well, you saying the just ask, that just totally, reminded me of all of those profiles that just said that. Because, yeah, you're going through and you want to know, is this worth, sending a message to this person? It's obviously, there's got to be some physical attraction. It's like, okay, they are somewhat attractive. Let's see, what are they into? And it's just ask. It's like, well, okay, I'm just not even going to bother. So the type of stuff from a guy that you see on there, sometimes with girls you see, like, you would think, like, maybe she's an alcoholic, because every picture she seems to be at a bar, a drink in her hand. I know you want to put fun pictures of yourself, but if every one of them was in a bar, that was kind of a red flag.
What if it was always group photos, all of them, and so you never know exactly who the person is?
That's exactly what happened.
Or at least two people in every single picture.
I would tend to just skip those, because you don't know who you're even messaging.
You show up to the first date and you think it's that person, but it's that person.
Yeah. So yeah, that's obviously confusing. The other thing I was thinking is, when you see a picture that's obviously been like cropped some way, but you see like the arm still on their shoulder or something. It's like a picture of their ex,
yeah.
or you see like the scratched out faces, or you know.
Don't use those.
you see a lot of that. Oh, another thing I wanted to say, as far as what I would see on there a lot is in the actual profile. I can't tell. It's got to be 4 out of 5 of them. The girls would say, "I'm looking for a man, not a little boy," and you know, you meet up with, and it's like clearly you don't know what you're looking for. You know, a lot of the profiles, it's like, you know, women on there would be like, you know, gotta have a job, got, you know, sort of like no shirt, no shoes, no service. It was must have a car, must have a job. So I don't know if every girl's putting that on their profile, how many guys that, you know, I don't know how they plan on taking you on a date if they don't have those two. But it seemed like most of the profiles had something like that.
Also, this is not about like their profiles, but for me, the time of day that I would get messages sometimes let me judge people based on, because like I know people come home, maybe they're scrolling at night, but when I get like a random message and then the next morning I wake up and I got 5 and it's at 4 a.m. and 5 a.m., you know those people are probably not getting home from work and now it's their time to be on there.
I think they're on the prowl.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rachel, I'm probably going to need your help, but let's at least go over how you and I met, and then stay tuned to the end of the video because we're going to give a couple crazy experiences we had on here.
Not with each other.
Right. Separate, different experiences. But, so when, how long ago did I first message? Because obviously I messaged you.
Well, you not obviously, but yeah, you did. It was February of 22.
Okay.
Beginning area.
Beginning of February.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say we messaged a decent amount on there before I asked you for your number, I think, right?
Yeah, on the app, which is different too, because a lot of times it's like, is texting easier? Here's my number. Or if they ever said, hey, do you have Kik?
Oh, yeah.
You're probably cheating on your wife.
Well, my thing was, we both probably, you know, I know I had the app on my phone, so it's the same as texting anyways, really. But, so yeah, we messaged a good deal on there. And I get, did we talk on the phone?
Before we met? I don't think so. Did we?
I don't know, I don't remember.
I know, like, the reason, so it was Super Bowl weekend, and I was watching the game with my family, and you said you didn't really care for football, and
we had the game on, though.
But you made the bet that if the Chiefs won, I don't even know who the other team was that year, that we would go on a date, or if the other team lost, we'd go on a date, which is
basically I rigged it to
win-win.
where we were going on a date regardless. So I won the bet.
Yeah. And we went out that Friday or Saturday night. Yeah.
We went out, and I took you on the best date you've ever had, I assume.
It was good.
Yeah, I think it went well. We talked. I told you that I remember when you first walked up at the restaurant that I was like trying to like give you a hug and say hi, and you just walked right by me.
I didn't walk right by you. I wasn't hugging essentially a stranger right away. I mean, I've seen some things out there in the dating world. But no, we went to a nice dinner, and then afterwards we weren't quite ready for it to end.
Uh-huh.
So we went to Union Station, the hotel lobby where they play the video, like music thingies on the
there's
ceiling.
like light shows on the
pretty.
ceiling, and they have like
I hadn't been.
a quaint little bar, and comfy seats to kind of
Pretty
sit
in
and
there.
talk.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that, and I'd say it was a good night. You had trouble leaving. I had to help
I
guide your
parked
car.
in the
valet.
The valet. I didn't know. I just thought it was a really
And
good parking spot.
You got blocked in there.
Yeah. He got me out.
Yeah. And then
I gave him a little kiss.
one little peck at the end of the night, which
That was it.
then that's good. I think if I gotta think other guys are the same. That if a girl's just throwing it away or giving it away, that it's just not as appealing or attractive. So I think we both thought that date went well. We made plans for other dates.
So I think after that we pretty much started talking, like on the phone all the time.
On the phone.
Yeah. Well, because my birthday was not too far after that, and I was away with my friend just in the city for the weekend, so I don't think I saw you again for 2 weeks or so. But we talked all the time. Like, all the time. He drives a truck, so, I felt like sometimes maybe he just talked to me because he was bored. And, I mean, I can only talk so much on my way to work, on my way home from work,
Yeah,
So.
we talked a lot. I think that helped
Way
us.
more than I've ever talked to anybody.
And we always had something to talk about, so that was good. So yeah, I mean, we don't need to go over every date, but we had quite a few dates and things, felt right and led us to where we're at now.
Maybe in the future we'll do a proposal rundown of how that happened.
Yeah, maybe. One thing I want to point out is that quite a bit into this whole thing, I told her that I was pretty sure that I had seen her on Plenty of Fish before, and that I had actually messaged her before, and she was like, "Oh, no way, that can't be." And so I told her what my screen name was on there, and she went through
a bajillion emails.
Yeah, because PLF will message you each time or email you each time you get a message on there, and so she went through the archive and actually found that a year and a half or something.
Yeah, so
before.
we didn't go on a first date until February of 22, but the first time he messaged me was October of 2020. So a year and a half maybe before, and who knows, because I don't know. Oh, that was Blue Pepper, and I know that's not the username I probably had whenever I started talking to you. Yeah. So it's another profile. I told you I had those floating around out there.
But yeah, I just thought that was funny. But so I think it'll be pretty entertaining to hear maybe a crazy experience you had on a date or something, crazy talk, messages, something that sticks out to you.
So I've gotten a lot of weird stuff. The very first message was, "How do you feel about kicking a guy in the balls really hard?" That was his opening line. No. And
that's an interesting way to
another one,
break the ice.
another guy, he seemed normal, and then he asked me if I happened to be a gassy person. And at that point, I knew we were going off the rails, but I had to find out what he meant. And he got turned on by girls farting.
Oh.
It's so gross.
Yeah.
Date-wise, nothing terrible crazy. I went on a couple dates with this one guy I met on there, and we were on a date, and suddenly he started crying, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" And he was on Facebook, and he read a post of another girl who just broke up with her girlfriend, and I said, "So you're sad for her? Are you close with her?" And he goes, "No, it makes me think about how tough my breakup was with my ex-girlfriend."
Oh, no.
And so he's just crying about his ex-girlfriend, and I don't even know. So that was not my favorite date.
Yeah.
What about you? Anything?
Yikes. Okay, so I made a little note here. Okay, so this one was just messaging. It never led to the date, and you'll understand why. So talking to a girl, thought she was cute. The conversation was good. One thing with girls on there, I found like you can text and they don't really give much back, or they won't ask a question, or so I thought like conversation was good with this girl. We were talking, and finally it was to the point where I thought, how about we meet up? We didn't know a lot about each other. Maybe where do you work? What part of town do you live in? Just the basics, and then so when I said, why don't we, meet up for whatever it was. I don't even remember, drinks, dinner, whatever it was. She proceeds, or rather responds with, well, that would be great, but how do you feel about my boyfriend coming too? He would like to meet you. And I just probably sent back like question, like, what are you talking about?
I thought you were on here looking for a boyfriend.
Yeah, so apparently she was looking for one of these throuple situations, and the guy was into it, and I don't know if I overlooked it in the profile or what. At this point, I don't even remember, but that's something that stood out. Obviously, I wasn't looking for anything like that, so we never met. One date that I thought about to talk about on here was I met a girl again. The talking things were good. Got to the point where how would you like to meet for lunch? Because I usually thought lunch was a good easy, no pressure. Just a better setting to meet somebody for the first time. And she said sure. So the issue with this was that she lived south of where we're at quite a bit. So I drove down to meet her. We kind of met halfway, and she left her car at a place and got in with me. And, good on her for trusting me, or good on her that I wasn't a psycho, because she just hopped in the car and we took
you
off.
Drive your own.
But everything was fine. We went and had lunch and, talked. It was kind of a long lunch, I thought. And we talked, and I was kind of thinking, that would probably be the end of it. It wasn't like, this is the one. It was like, oh, maybe we'll talk again, and I said, so, trying to hint about maybe getting her back to her car, but she didn't want that. I don't think I was blunt about, so are you ready to go home, or, so we went, so I guess from lunch, I think we played some miniature golf. Miniature golf was over. I said, oh, well, that was fun. And, so what are we going to do next is what so, I'll just make this short. We went to dinner. Dinner's over. No, actually, I think we went and had a drink somewhere and talked. And then it is dinner time. And so, of course, she wants some dinner. And so, and granted, I'm paying for all this. I mean,
so
it's but I just want to point that out. So then we're going to dinner, and dinner's, okay, well, surely this is the end of nope, she's still wanting to hang out. So we go for after dinner drinks, and I am ready to just be done with it. It's not a horrible date. It's not the best.
Longest date.
That was the issue. So dinner, she didn't want to go home, and she's putting the signals out that I talked about, giving samples away. So this date turned into, we'll say, a sleepover.
Oh gosh.
Okay. Sorry. This was before we knew each other, and but yeah, so it was one of those sleepover things, and I just knew that this could not go on another day. So I had a story ready, made up. Brother's birthday is tomorrow, so we're gonna have to leave this hotel early, and because I gotta get to brother's birthday. So
You took her to a hotel? Alright.
Yeah. Where do you take girls like that?
I don't know their house.
Back home. So yeah, that was, and obviously I didn't want to really talk much again. I think, and I don't think she did either. I think she was just in it for,
Lunch.
of lunch, dinner, drinks,
mini golf.
After
dinner drink.
Yeah. But it was just one of those things where I was over it, and you're trying to be polite, and so I guess, guys, if you're getting ready to take a girl out, make sure you got plenty of cash on you, because you don't know how long the date could last. But yeah, those were a couple of my experiences on there. So I think we gave a pretty good description on how Plenty of Fish can be, and a lot of those apps are the same. I think Tinder is like really just, I could be wrong, but I think it's more
like hookup
just
culture.
about hooking up. Plenty of Fish, a couple long-term things I found on there, and it led me to my beautiful fiance. So thank you, Plenty of Fish. But yeah, that's my take on it. Anything you want to add before we wrap this up?
I think the best advice is to be smart, ladies, but also give people a chance, because I know going into dating, I was very specific with things I like, but that's why I made up the second date rule, because, maybe the second date, unless it's a really creepy date, don't go on a second date just because you're trying to make them the one. But sometimes they can really surprise you, so yeah. It's worth it. So definitely was worth it, even though I really don't find myself a fan of Plenty of Fish. But yeah, like you said, we're success story.
Yeah.
And Pepper now has another human.
Okay, well, I guess that's going to be it. Thanks for clicking on the video. The few of you that made it to the end, I mean,
Hi,
what
Graham.
were you thinking? Yeah, hi, Graham. But yeah, subscribe, comment, like the video.
Let us know what you'd like to see more of.
Yeah, I think we've got another vlog in the can. Some product reviews that I've got going. So yeah, thanks for watching. Anything Pepperoni wants to say? Bark, bark.
She says, send treats.
Send treats. All right, bye guys.
Bye.
Stop. I want it. I got it. I want it. I got it. I want it. I got it. I want it. I got it.